This video is going to go over the Desmos lesson 7.2.10. So it's section 10 in chapter 2. The lesson objective of this is to know the graph of a proportional relationship is represented as a straight line that is going through the origin, 0, 0. So we've looked at other ways to know if a relationship is proportional. In a table, we find the constant of proportionality, and if it's the same every time, then that's proportional. In an equation, we looked to see if our equation had a variable times a constant or a variable divided by a constant. And that constant was our unit rate or our constant of proportionality. So this one revolves around knowing how a graph looks, and that a graph of a proportional relationship is a straight line going through 0, 0. We're going to start this lesson by looking at these unique points here. We've got 0, 10, we have the point 1, 8, we have the point 2, 6, and we have the point 3, 4, and lastly we have the point 4, 2. So these are all points on our graph or our relationship. So I'm going to start by plotting each of these points. My first point, 0, 10, has x is 0 and y is 10. So we've got that point. When you do it on Desmos, you just click that point and it plots it for you. The next point is the point 1, 8. Then we have the point x is 2, y is 6. We have the point 3, 4, so we go over 3, up 4. And lastly, we have the point over 4, up 2. Now, if we look at those points, and I'm going to connect them. So I'm going to actually use my ruler here. And I'm going to connect my points using my ruler. You don't really have a ruler. I just am not very good at drawing straight lines, so I'm going to use this. So once again, the ruler is just there to show you that it is a nice straight line. I'll draw a black line so you can really see it. Those points form a straight line. So what I want you to notice is that the points form a straight line. All right, so that's kind of nice for us. I'm not sure quite what that means yet, but I do like that they're nice and straight line, and we have all the colors so we can see kind of how that forms. Okay, we're going to bring this back to what we learned a couple days ago. This says some t-shirts cost $8 each. We're going to use the table to answer the following question. First thing it's going to ask us is this table a proportional relationship? Is there a proportional relationship between x and y? Okay, if we have a table and we want to know if this table is proportional or not, I am just going to take my second term and divide by the first term. So I'm going to take my y value and divide it by the x value. So 8 divided by 1 is 8. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So this is looking good. 32 divided by 4 is 8. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And 48 divided by 6 is 8. Okay, so this is for sure a proportional relationship because every one of my constants of proportionality or unit rate is the same. So we would click on yes, this is a proportional relationship. Okay, hopefully that's a review for you. That's what we've been doing the last couple weeks. Okay, now if one of those even was not 8, first of all, I would go and check and make sure I did my math right. And then if we confirm, yes, one of these is not 8, then this is not a proportional relationship. But they are all 8, so we are good. It is proportional. Okay, now we're going to take a look at that proportional relationship that we saw. Here it is as a table, and we're also going to try and graph it. Before I graph though, I want to just take a look at how the table is going, or how our graph is going. We have the increments here. This is 2, this is 4, so halfway between there would be 1, 3. So the graph was a little bit tricky how it's looking. So I just wanted to clear that up just so we can make sure we see it. And then going up, we have here 10. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's counting by 2, so that's kind of tricky. 2, 4, 6, 8. So I just wanted you to see that just to be clear. Okay, now let's look at our points. We have the x relationship and the y relationship. So my first one here, if we look at this point, x is 1 and y is 8. Or we can call it the point 1, 8. We're going to go over 1, up 8. Okay, the second point here, we have the point 2, 16. So that's the point 2, 16. So we go over to 2, up to 16, which happens to be right there because it's 2, 4, 6. So that's 16. Next, we're going to plot the point 324. So if I plot the point 324, we've got 3 and then 24 is 224 there. Then we got the point 432. So if we plot that point 4, 32, we go over to 4, up to 32. Then we have the point 540. So we go over to 5, up to 40. Okay, our last point is 648. So I've got the point 648. So go over to 6, up to 48, which is really close to 50. There we go. So now I've plotted all my points on the graph. We know this table is already proportional. We did that in the previous slide. So since we know this graph is proportional, we're going to draw a straight line and see what happens with the proportional relationship. All right, I'm going to talk about what we noticed one more time. I'm not going to redraw the graph. You can go back to the previous slide if you want. But I noticed that the proportional relationship was a straight line. So that's a really important part of it being proportional. The other really important part about my graph being proportional is that the graph went through the point 0, 0. Okay, if my graph didn't go through 0, 0, it would have gone once again up and down the y, and it would change, or it would cause being added. So we would have something being added to it. Okay, we can go on to the next one here. Okay, so this is the proportional relationship that we were just looking at. So we're going to look a little bit closely. Can we buy 0 shirts? So let's look at the graph. Here is 0 shirts right here. If we buy 0 shirts, it's going to cost us $0. So yes, we can buy 0 shirts. That's no problem. You're not getting anything, but you can buy 0 shirts. Now, can we buy 7 shirts? So let's see if we kept going and our line kept going. It's going on forever. Here's 7 right here. I'm going to go 7. If I go up all the way up here, right there. It's on our line, but can we buy 7 of them? The answer is sure. We can buy 7 shirts. So yes, we can buy 7 shirts. Can we buy 10 shirts? Would 10 be on my line? So if I kept going, I'm going to change to a different color and keep going. And I wanted to go up and buy 10 shirts. Sure, it's on my line. I can buy 10 shirts. That's perfectly fine. All of those work for a couple reasons. They're on our proportional relationship. We would just multiply our constant of proportionality, which we found was 8, to figure out how many shirts we bought. So 8 times 10, it would be $80. So this point would be the point 10, 80. Now the next question's kind of a tricky one. Can we buy half of a shirt? So can we buy half of a shirt? Now 1/2 is actually on our graph. So if we look at it, this is 1/2 is right here. It's showing us we have this point 1/2, 2. It's on our graph. But can we, in this situation, buy half of a shirt? The answer is no. We can't buy half of something in this situation. Okay, they don't sell half of shirts. So there we go. So the line is really, really useful in kind of helping us interpret certain things that can happen with our graph and with our proportional relationships. All right, so what we essentially see is that in a proportional relationship, our graphs will be straight lines that go through the point 0, 0. So I'm going to take a look at all of these different graphs, and then we're going to try and decide if they are proportional or not. But first, we're going to look at them and say some things that we notice about them and some things that can be different about them. All right. In fact, if I'm looking at these, all of these graphs have points. Okay. Let's look at the first one here. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to try and just connect it the best I can there. If I draw a line on this graph, that's what we get. I like the lines. It's very helpful to and clear for me to see it. Some people can see it without drawing the line, but I think the line is helpful. This one, we have that. On C, we're going to draw this line here. There we go. D. That's a good one. We'll go right here. All of these relationships are going up. So far, let's see if that's going to be true here. Okay, there is a problem on this one. The lines are not connected all here. So this line doesn't work. So what I'm going to do instead of using my ruler, because it's not a pretty straight line, is I'm going to just start and connect my points there. It kind of curves a little. So it wasn't a nice straight line. In fact, if this were to keep going, I don't actually know what it was gonna do. So let's ditch our line for a sec here. And I'm gonna just connect the points because I think some things are gonna happen here where they're not all gonna be nice straight lines. Okay, oh, I forgot to do F. We have those two. I think that one ended up being a straight line. Let's look at H. Okay, we go up, then we go there, up, there. So this one was kind of like a little step ladder. So that one wasn't straight for sure. I do think it's going to do that, but it's going through 0, 0, but it wasn't nice and straight. So that was a problem. Okay, we've got here this one. Which I think was more straight. And then our last one here, we had, okay, this is a weird one. This one is definitely not straight. It's kind of curving up. So just connecting my points left to right. We always connect points left to right. We read a graph like a book, left to right. Okay, so some things I notice about the graphs that are the same. They all have points. Okay, a lot of them have ratios, but not all of them. They have points, and I would say they are all increasing. That's all I can think of. You might be able to think of more things. I don't know. Some things that are different about the graphs. They are not all straight. Okay. Some go through 0. Some don't. Okay. So those are the things that I notice. I happen to know what's important to notice on the differences here, so those are probably good ones. But maybe you notice some other things too, and that's awesome. Let's take a look then at how we can tell if these are proportional or not. All right, for the graphs to be proportional, they have to go through 0, 0 and be a straight line. So this graph does not go through 0, 0. Proportional. Because it has to go through 0, 0. The next one here, if I have this graph, this one is proportional. Because it goes through 0, 0, and it is straight. It's a nice straight line. The next one's here. This graph, if we draw this out, it looks like it's going to go through 0, 0. So it's going through 0, 0, and it is straight, a nice straight line. So that means this would probably be proportional. Okay, this next one, if I draw that out, and you can go and grab a ruler and put it on your screen to see if the points fall in a straight line or not, if that's helpful for you. This one does go through 0, 0 though, and it is straight, a nice straight line. So yay, it's proportional. Okay, let's look at the next couple. E and F. Okay, E. This one's tricky. Okay, I'm going to take my ruler because I'm having trouble seeing exactly on this E. But if I connect some of my points, they are not all perfectly on the straight line. So if I had a straight line, it would look like that. Not all the points are on that line. So because of that, this is not the line that goes through there. It's more like this, where you go from here to here, here, then up a little, then here, here, and then up a little more. So it's not quite straight. So it's not straight. So it might go through 0, 0. I'm not sure actually. But since it's not straight, this is not proportional. Okay, this next one, I'm going to do the same thing with my ruler because I am not 100% sure. If I can get all my points to lie on there, that's nice. It looks like they do. Well, that's great. That's perfect. Okay, so this does. It goes through 0, 0. And all the points were on the line, so it can be connected as a straight line. So this one would be proportional. So see how quickly you can look at these. It's really nice. Okay, the next couple here. With G, I can draw my straight line. That's not too bad. So if I draw that line, looks like they all connect on a straight line, but it doesn't go through 0, 0. So it doesn't go through 0, 0. So this means it's not proportional. And H, let's try. I think this one I'm going to want to do a ruler again because it is so close and it's hard to tell. I'm going to connect those ones. Okay, well, interesting. If I do that, that would be the straight line, but that's not containing all of my points. This is not going to work. So if I do this, I connect those, then up, those, and then up higher. So that's not quite straight line. So it's not straight. And I don't know what point it's going through, but it doesn't matter. Just both of the things have to be true. It's not straight, so it's not proportional. Okay, last two, I believe. Here, I'm going to use a ruler again because this is really close. It's kind of hard to tell. So I'm going to get my ruler. Okay, it looks good. So it's a straight line. It's going through 0, 0. So that means here we have a proportional. Okay, and then if we do our ruler for this next one, it's kind of easy to tell. If I were to connect any of these points, none of the other points are on there. This is a special type of equation. It's actually an exponential equation. But if we look at it and we connect our points there, then we connect to that, then we connect there, and then to the next set of points, then all the way up to that set of points. Do you see the curve? It's looking like it's kind of half of a cup. It could hold some water. So because of this and it's not straight, our graph is not proportional. Okay, so the main thing to look for to see if a graph is proportional is whether or not it's a straight line that goes through 0, 0. So the last thing I want you to think about is what did we notice about the graphs of proportional relationships? One more time for those in the back. It's a straight line. So there's no curve to it. There's no like jaggedness. It has to be nice and straight, and they all go through 0, 0. Do you think that's going to be true for all proportional relationships or just the ones that we saw? I'm going to let you decide that. I think that you can figure that out. So there we go. That is our Desmos. You can go ahead and do the next slides where you decide how well you know the information. But thank you for listening. Really good job.